In last week, we have successfully break apart one USB computer keyboard and take out this particular USB keyboard controller. And we have also connected around a few of those electric wires to the connector over here. So in the testing we have done in last exercise, we have, for example, tried to connect one of those connectors from the right hand side to one of them in the left hand side. And the connection will essentially try to effect one of the key press in the computer keyboard. And in this exercise, we'll try to extend it a little bit further. So you can see we have connected 4 of the wire, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 of them on the right hand side and 2 of them in the left hand side. So by connecting one of the wire from the right hand side to one of them from the left hand side, we can simulate, or we can trigger one key press in the computer keyboard. And in the last exercise we have done, we try to make use of this kind of switch, and this is a very simple push button switch where you can just press this one to make a connection, and you can just simply connect the 2 wires to the connector point around here, or you can just connect this wire into the connector over there. But we do not do this way because of the fact that you can see in the controller around here by the soldering connection is a kind of fragile. So if you imagine if you embed this particular controller into some embodied interaction device, like you put it in along, for example, in your trousers or in some of your wearable clothing. So when you are interacting with your piece of artwork, is kind of dangerous in a sense. You may pull out those of the connection of the wires. So what we are going to do is we try to separate this particular fragile connection from the physical environment. For example, when you are using the switch like this one, or alternatively you can use other form of the switch like this one. And those connections with the switch, we call it in physical and embodied environment, where you have a lot of action and movement along with your body. But the one you connect and send back to the computer will be a little bit fragile. So we try not to put it directly in the physical environment where the action takes place. So what we are going to do is make use of this form of connector. So this is some form of connector usually you find in your electric devices, where you can connect one wire from the left hand side, and then through the right hand side you extend it into the other connection. So if you take a look of the back of this connection, so you can essentially see the copper or metal tube inside this arrangement. So this is 1 row, 2nd row, 3rd row, and 4th row. And in this case we can make 4 connections, 1 over here and extend over there, and 1 the other one, the other one. So what we are going to do is to connect 1 wire from, for example, the right hand side of the USB keyboard controller, and we insert this particular thin wire into this metal tube, and then we fasten the screw over here. So in this case, you make a connection from the left hand side of this connector, and for the other sides of the connection you select 1 piece of wire from, for example, the left hand side of the controller, and then do the same things to insert it inside the tube and fasten the screw. And after you have completed this one, usually what we are going to do is to embed this one into one fixed enclosure, some kind of box where you can put it along with your computer, close to your computer. But for this one, you can put it into something more movable. In a sense, the connection from this end will be along in your body or in some of your furniture you would like to connect the switch to. So for the switch, we do it on the right hand side of this particular connection. So we make sure the connection is tight, so otherwise you may have back contact between your wire and the connector. So again, we continue to fasten the rest of the connection. For this one, we put it inside the tube and then fasten the screw. And then the last one from the controller. And then we take another switch. Again, this one is come with a long tail around here, so you can, for example, imagine there's some sort of hitting or some sort of reaction where you can trigger along here, or you can hidden this switch under some of the surface with only this extender shown to the user, or even you have some clothing or some of the other material cover this one, and when the user press upon the object, it will effectively trigger a switch. So we usually call this kind of connection a screw terminal because it's using a screw and a screwdriver to make the connection rather than by using soldering material. So in some of the cases it can be flexible in a sense you can just unscrew and screw it again if you would like to make some changes to your circuit. So this is what we have done. So in the center, we have this plastic transparent connector. And on this end, we have the physical environment. We have the switch, the two form of the switches. On the opposite end, we have the supposed to be the virtual one. So for this one is the USB controller, which again we are going to use the USB connection to connect it to the computer, and then we use the jam keyboard we have done in last week to take a look what type of character it will generate when we push the button around here, and also for this one. So after we have made the connection from the USB keyboard controller to the computer, so we would like to use it to play around with the Puredata, with the jam and other visual effect. So this is the visual effect what we are going to do. So we make a very simple patch by using an pixel image, and we have two images. One is the pool, the other is Miffy. So depending on which particular key you would like to assign to switch on one of those images, so we'll make use of this patch to have a demonstration. So before we work with the keyboard, we can have a look at what will be the visual appearance of this particular patch. So we'll create, for example, a cube, and along the cube in the very beginning is empty with the white background. We can select one of the image, either the pool.jpg or Miffy.jpg as the visual display. So after we have tested with the basic configuration of this particular patch, we can continue to make use of the keyboard input. So I have already inserted the USB cable into this computer. So essentially this computer will be equipped with two keyboards. One is the existing built-in one, the other is the hacked one with only two keys connected. So what we are going to do will be, we make use of the command we have done before, that is the jam keyboard. And after the keyboard, we will use a number to display which particular key we have pressed in the interaction. So before we start the connection to complete the logic of this patch, we can have a look at those keys we intended to use. So when we go to the run mode and activate the jam window, so remember you have to, for example, click this jam window in order to capture either the keyboard and also the mouse interaction. So after you have activated this one, you can go back to your keyboard and by pressing your switch. So for the first one we have done, we use the 22. This is the key code we have done. And the other one we use is the number 6. So we will remember these two of them, the 22 and the number 6. And then the rest of the logic is we try to capture the number 6 and number 22 of the interaction. So we'll make use of the select command. The select command we have come across is, it will try to have a look of your input to the select command. So whenever it matches the number or the symbol is specified in the select argument, so it will route the message to whichever outlet. So in this case, we have two arguments or two parameters. One is number 6, the other is number 22. So if it match the number 6 over here, it will route through the first outlet. So if it matches the second one, number 22, it will route through the second outlet. So if it doesn't match any one of the 6 or 22, it will go through the number 22. So the last outlet, which is not 6 and not 22 altogether. So the output is actually a band. So you can attach a number of the band in order to have a look of the output situation. And then we move back to the run mode to create and render the patch. And once we activate the gem window, you can move back to your switch again and to try out with the, for example, using this one is 22. And then the first one is number 6. So this is number 6, number 6, number 6. And then 20, 22, 22, 22. So those are the operation or basic operation by connecting the switch in the physical environment and the virtual environment with the gem keyboard. So what we are going to do is just to connect the band and also the open message all together. So if we know that this is the band signal, so actually we do not need to display the band around here. We just need to connect, for example, if this one, number 6, is associated with the Winnie the Pooh figures, we'll connect it to the openpool.jpg. So if the 22 is associated with the Miffy figure, we connect it with the second open command. So we save and try it out again. And then we can go back again to our physical environment by pushing the switch. So this is the Winnie the Pooh one. And then the other one will be the Miffy one. So you can altogether use different parts of your body to interact with the environment. So this is the operation we have done by using the Winnie the Pooh and also the Miffy figures, and each of them will be associated to one key in your disconstructed or deconstructed keyboard, and you can make use of the physical switch to play around with the interaction. So this is the basic idea of how we can make use of the physical objects as some form of interaction and redirect it back to the virtual world, either by changing the texture for the appearance, or we can either use it to control, for example, the number in the, for example, in the rotation, or even the size of your images. So those are the things you can think about and try to use the physical operation to play around with. So those are the operation we can try to play around with the physical keyboard and also your graphics into the gem window. So alternatively, you can consider, for example, by using PixFilm, which will load a digital video instead of a still image. So this is the exercise we try to work on with the keyboard.